Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Everyone all set, cocked and locked. Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com, broadcasting 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. We've got a call-in number for you if you'd like to call us. We'll pay for the call. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. Lance is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us. Welcome, Rick. Yeah. Hey, Rick. Hey, Rick, you there? So what do you think, Lance? You want to call him back? Okay, well, let's call Ricky back. In the meantime, I'll tell you what I'd like to talk to Rick about. I'd like to talk about the oxygen content of the Earth's atmosphere. At one time, we believed that the content of the Earth's atmosphere was about 35% oxygen. And it fell down to, let's say 14, 15%. And then it went back up to 30%. And it's been hovering around 20%. So they say. Well, I don't believe that the content of the Earth's atmosphere is anywhere near that today. Hey, Rick, you with us?
Yes, I am. Here I am.
Hey, Rick, I was talking about...
a couple of false starts, but I'm good.
Great. I was talking about the content of the Earth's atmosphere. You know, at one point, it was about 35% oxygen. And then it fell down to, let's say, 14 or 15%. And then it went back up. And now they say it's hovering around 20%. And I remember when I was in elementary school in earth science learning that the content, the oxygen content of the Earth's atmosphere was 21%. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it anymore because I believe that, and I can't prove it. But my concern is that if you look at let's say the Northeast United States, how do we heat? A lot of people heat with oil burners. So they have these 500-gallon tanks or these 275-gallon tanks in their basement for diesel fuel, which they call home heating oil. And they just burn that. And they might get it filled a couple times, during the winter if they have a 275-gallon tank. So they're probably burning about 500 gallons. So for all these years, from the 1940s through today, we're burning, let's say 500 gallons of fuel oil per home, per year. And then we have diesel fuel in the cars, and then we have, in the cars and trucks, and then we have gasoline in cars and trucks, and then we have the jets punching holes through the atmosphere, burning up the oxygen. So all these small fires are just depleting the oxygen content. But then we have the trees and the plant life replenishing the oxygen. But I believe it's a net loss. And I can't prove it, but I believe that's why so many people are short of breath.
Vincent, the best way to approach this is not by trying to measure the carbon dioxide levels, because that is a very complicated situation with a lot of variables and currents of air, that would presume errors in measurement. Now, the best way to do this is to do it from space like Tony Vincent did, where he looked at the Earth in the color of the Earth. And over a time-lapse photography, you can watch the Earth go from green to brown. It's called the Biosphere Project. You can look it up. He was part of Gore's entourage, and this talk about global warming and the fact that even a grade school kid can watch the logging of the Amazon by the color of the Earth changing from green to brown. It's simple, and it's happening because there it is, and there's the color of the change of Earth. You can see it with your eyes as a 6-year-old. There's no way to avoid it. It's a simple, quick measurement. You can watch the color of Earth change. And there is no question that man is affecting the biosphere. However, the real changer is our sun. And that is the bottom line. Anything that's happening on Earth that is done by man is minuscule in comparison to what the sun decides to do. And the sun right now is heating up. Go figure. There's something happening that is causing X2 band discharges yesterday. Why is the sun heating up? There is global warming on Mars and Pluto. This is in the physics of what's going on right now. And while man is contributing, we are nothing in comparison to what the sun decides to do. And what the sun decides to do is what happens on Earth right now. And while we may contribute, our part of it is minuscule in comparison. And the logging of the Amazon, everything is turning into desert here. We're heating up. There is absolutely no question on that. And because of that, the desalinization of the sea is changing, and the ocean currents are changing. And at some point, that will lead to a repetitive mini ice age. That's it. Period. End of story. We've got pictures of tribes coming out of caves after the event every 3,600 years, where they show the sun, doing a mini explosion, and then they start from scratch, like, Atlantis becoming Greece. And that happens and is happening right now. I don't know how it's all going to play. There are different levels of the event in terms of the Clovis culture, our American Indian, when they crawled out of caves out of Peru and started their form of society again. I think it's going to be an opportunity for man to rewrite and move away from our current systems of technology. Technology has had many, many faces. One of the things I'm talking about right now is how song, music, sound, and movement change space-time. And we've seen it with Ghost Dance and the Whirling Dervish and the other kinds of Macumba, Obi-Wan dancing, where they can change paranormal things. I had a friend that just came back from Syria that witnessed Whirling Dervish doing their knife fighting. And not a scar, not a cut, not a single wound in these very flashing things where there's actual, blows being hit to each other that would normally cut a human being. How does that work? So there's something else going on here that we have not yet actually described. And while we can point to automobiles and the use of fire, that is called cybernetic anthropology, and the use of the thumb and fire as a form of technology. That has been shown not to work very well. And my main concern now is to turn the switches off so that the next round of civilizations have an opportunity or chance to have something to return to. Because Fukushima was just the slight of it.
Okay, I was talking I was talking with Norm Shealy, and he had a blood test done a while ago, several weeks ago, and he had higher levels of barium in his blood.
Yeah.
And he talked about how that's in diesel fuel. And that's a concern to me. It's also in the aerosols that are being sprayed overhead, right? Barium and aluminum. He said he did not have high.
It's in everything now.
Yeah. And so I was out planting the garden yesterday. So we have a raised bed garden now. You saw it right outside the veranda there, right outside the kitchen door. And we filled it with topsoil and peat moss and lime. And, we planted, the tomatoes and the peppers and so forth. And we're going to plant the seeds at the new moon. But he said that, he had levels of barium in his blood. And, Rick, there's no escape that I can think of, because if you fly, you're going to eat the exhaust of whatever planes were in front of you, and the chemicals and the aerosols that are sprayed in the jets, above you. Then if you're behind a truck, even if it's miles behind a truck on the highway, you're still going to breathe those fumes. If you operate a tractor the way I do, you still are going to breathe those fumes. And they're all around us. And I'm thinking that if we have a closed system, and I believe we pretty much have a closed system, Rick, in terms of our atmosphere, we're not getting any more atmosphere, are we? It's limited to what we've got. We're limited to the water that we have, and we're polluting it all around us. And we're outstripping, in my opinion, nature's ability to cope with the damage that we're doing. That being the case, we have a pretty short life expectancy on Earth because of what we have done to ourselves. Would you say that's correct or incorrect, Rick?
I would say that's correct. I don't have answers. I am trying to change my own lifestyle so that it does not involve much of the technologies that we currently enjoy. I think it's time for all of us to start thinking about that kind of thing.
All right, Rick, I was talking with a guy who was a representative for the electrical co-ops in this area. And I invited, and this was years ago, I invited him to come to the expo and teach us how to save electricity. You know what? He wasn't interested in doing that. And the board of directors for these electrical co-ops have a fiduciary responsibility to keep profits up, which does not include reducing consumption of electricity. So here we have the boards of directors trying to increase the use of electricity. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
On the average, Americans work between 45 to 50 years, hoping to build up enough wealth to retire and live out their golden years. Unfortunately, with taxation, the rising cost of food, energy, and medical, many retirees are forced to live below the poverty line. Is this a flaw free enterprise, or is our monetary unit we call the Federal Reserve Note forcing us into perpetual debt, ensuring inflation and higher taxes? These questions and more can be answered by reading G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Congressman Ron Paul states it's what every American needs to know about central bank power, a gripping adventure into the secret world of international banking cartel. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I will give a silver dollar from the early 1900s to anyone who purchases this book. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order a copy today. It's critical that the public be made aware of the system. Call and order your copy today at 1-800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.
You've heard them on Alex Jones. You've seen them on Ancient Aliens. Now come see them live at Contact in the Desert 2015 in Joshua Tree this May. Experience 4 full days of science-centered lectures, workshops, intensives, and fieldwork on ancient astronauts, extraterrestrial intelligence, human origins, crop circles, contact experiences, UFO sightings, and more. Meet Chariots of the Gods author Eric von Daniken, Ancient Aliens host Giorgio A. Tsoukalos, New York Times bestselling author David Wilcock, Dead Doctors Don't Lie author Dr. Joel Wallach, astronauts Edgar Mitchell and Story Musgrave, Earth Files publisher Linda Moulton Howe, author Jim Mars, and many of the world's most respected researchers and scientists exploring answers to one of the greatest questions of all time. More speakers, more panels, more things to do. Join us at the Joshua Tree Retreat Center, which has a long history of sightings and contact experiences. For advance tickets and conference schedule, go to contactinthedesert.com. That is contactinthedesert.com.
Hi, John Hubner from Midas Resources. Are you tired of watching your hard-earned assets dwindle away? As government spending is out of hand and the Federal Reserve is creating in excess of $20 billion a week, are you tired of stockbrokers gambling away your hard-earned money? Is this market a setup for a crash greater than 1987? Too many of today's policies resemble those that led to the collapse of 1929. This is John Hubner, and that was me in 2007. And we all know what happened when the subprime credit bubble burst. By March 2009, the dollar lost 50% of its value. The entire U.S. banking system was on the verge of collapsing. Like all financial problems of the past, is history about to repeat itself? Call me, John Hubner, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 129, before it's too late to protect yourself. Will the oncoming catastrophe take all private IRAs, 401ks with it? There is a way to protect your hard-earned assets. Call me, John Hubner, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 129.
Rick Miller's with us. Hey, Rick, you mentioned that you're changing your lifestyle, and it sounds like what you're doing is reducing consumption and becoming more independent. And that's what I'm doing. And I look at what we've done here at the farm. You've been to the farmhouse. So we used to have incandescent lighting. And, to drive our electric use down, we went to compact fluorescent and fluorescent lighting. Well, I've determined that that's not enough. So I'm converting the entire house as, I'm not going to buy any more compact fluorescent lights. I'm not going to buy any more fluorescent light tubes. I am building a solar array that will charge a couple deep cycle batteries. And I'm going to have LED lighting throughout the house. Now, I'm not talking about LED lighting that is 120 volts with some electronics to step it down to 12 volts within the bulb itself. I'm not doing that. What I am doing is I'm running 12 volt cable throughout the house, and I'm from the battery with fuses and so forth to protect all circuits. And I'll have LED lighting in the kitchen. It'll be exclusively LED lighting in the great room, LED lighting in the studio, LED lighting in the barn, LED lighting, and so forth. That's the plan, because what I see is unacceptable. And talking with this man who represented the electric co-ops, they want us to use more electricity. And Mrs. Finelli called our electric co-op and said, "Do you guys have a rebate for installing a solar system?" And they said, "No, that kind of goes against what we do." So they're not interested. Now, there are plenty of electric utilities that are saying, you know what, we want to get some of these grid tie systems in where we're feeding back into the system, power from solar, distributed solar arrays all over on homes and farms and so forth. No, our electric co-op is not interested in doing that. So I guess I have to run again for the board of directors of this electric co-op and see if I can impact some of their thinking and force some change. But Rick, we're doing what you're trying to do. We're trying to reduce our dependency on the system, and we're also trying to reduce our consumption of electricity. But that's not what's going on elsewhere. There's more electronics. There's more dependency on electricity, and we're going the wrong direction. What do you think?
I agree with that completely. I think our romance with electrical current is going to lead to our demise as a civilization. And the grid is the first warning indicator.
You know, that's a really
Sun
interesting
doesn't like
point,
it.
Rick, because, right.
You know,
I was thinking
collapses.
this morning.
You know, like just yesterday, we had a double X band that hit the earth, and phones were disrupted. Phone service.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. We'll talk about cell phones in a few minutes, but I was thinking this morning about Tokyo, New York City, Los Angeles, you know, just large cities. And that's just 3 of them. And they would be absolutely destroyed without electricity. Absolutely destroyed. The underground transportation system, the water system, the sewage system, the traffic lights, the hospitals, everything would come to a screeching halt. All the electronic payments into people's accounts, all these digital payments of transactions, purchases, sales, compensation, all that would just come to a screeching halt. And Rick, there is no, as far as I know, there is no system in place that can take the place of the grid as we know it. There's nothing that we have. And it's the most complicated thing that man has ever built. And that's the electric power grid. What do you think?
I think that we're, in a lot of trouble right now because the grid is going to collapse. And when it does, how are all these cities going to deal with just drinking water?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right now, Rick, my understanding is that the typical city, the typical municipality, the typical government that has a water treatment plant has on hand a 2-week supply of chlorine for disinfecting the water. Now, obviously, I don't want to take chlorine into my body, and I would filter it out with the water filtration system. However, I don't know of another way of treating the water and getting it through the plumbing without making everybody sick. So if you think about it, we only have a 2-week supply on average at the typical water treatment facility. What happens when the system shuts down? How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Did you know that drinking pure, high-alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
You pick up the receiver with your heart racing and sweat dripping from your forehead. You finally muster the courage to dial the number to call into your favorite talk radio show. It rings once, twice, and then...
Hello, it's GCN. What's your name and the state you're calling from?
Surprised you got through, you squeak out.
Jason from Minnesota.
Please hold.
As you patiently wait for your turn, you begin to daydream about being a famous talk radio host and what it would be like to have your own show.
Jason from Minnesota, you're up.
Millions of loyal listeners worldwide waiting to call and talk to you.
Caller, are you there?
Cheering crowds surround you, calling out your name.
Jason! Jason!
Going once, twice. Okay, we gotta move on to the next caller.
You blew it.
Huh? Wait, no!
Interact with the host you're listening to right now, online at gcnlive.com. Click on the community link. Engage with other listeners. Ask questions. Start debates. Don't agree with the host? Let them know. Be a part of the community at gcnlive.com.
We live in a complicated society. Stressful issues are always popping up. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone? Have you ever been overcharged for a repair? Have you ever signed a contract or a document? Worried about identity theft? How many times have you been in those unique situations where you just wanted to call an attorney to find out if you're right or wrong, or what your legal rights are? But every time you think about calling an attorney, what do you think about first? That's right. Who do you call, and how much will it cost? Our friends at Legal Shield have found a solution. With a nationwide network of 6,900 attorneys who average over 19 years of experience, Legal Shield's law firms take over 40,000 calls per week helping their members. For less than $20 per month, you can have access to Legal Shield on everything from the trivial to the traumatic. Let Legal Shield stand up for your rights at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com. Or call 855-340-SAVE, 855-340-7283.
Results will vary from case to case.
Rick Miller's with us. So, Rick, what I'm doing is I'm reducing our consumption to the absolute minimum, and I want to be away from the system because I truly believe that the grid will collapse. And it seems that those who are in the electricity selling business want us to use more and more and more. I believe that the electromagnetic radiation from the power lines and the transformers on the power lines, I believe they're causing problems to life. I believe they're altering the weather at some level. I don't know at what level, but it can't be neutral. There can't be no effect from all of this. So I just don't like it. Here at the farm, we have all of our utilities buried 3 feet or more underground in conduit to minimize the effects. And I don't think it's good. I see farms where there are cows walking underneath power lines, high voltage power lines, and farmers seem to think it's okay. There are cell towers. Farmers are putting cell towers up on their farms because they're getting $900 a month, for as long as those towers are there to blast their neighbors with microwave radiation. The system is absolutely out of control. Individual greed is taken over, and it's killing all of us. And it's making me angry. Well, I should say it's making me more angry.
I think that your anger might be a result of the actual electromagnetic fields. I think they disturb our central nervous system and cause the kinds of behavior that we're now observing. There's a movie called Neighbors with John Belushi that, depict that phenomena in a comedy that I think is worth watching. It's really kind of interesting.
I'm sitting here with a tri-field meter, and as I move the meter, let's say I'm about a foot away from the flat screen. monitor, 19-inch monitor. I'm reading about 2.5 milligauss of electromagnetic radiation. And, I'm sorry, no, I'm not. I'm reading 0.6 milligauss of electromagnetic radiation. Now, here at the microphone, I'm reading virtually no electromagnetic radiation. So distance is our friend. And I've got these monitors as far away from me as possible. What I've noticed in the studio, where there's usually a lot of electromagnetic radiation, the studio that I'm in, the one that I built, has virtually none, which at where I'm sitting, which is great. But I'm going to reduce whatever I've got by removing the fluorescent lighting and reducing the power consumption. So I think that what I should do is take some pictures of this construction as I progress, so that it'll be a template for those who want to use it in their situation. I believe I can install LED lighting for about, in my case, maybe $25 or $30 per room. I
remember a time when everything was done with candles.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can't work with 10 candle power here.
You could if you had to.
Well, actually, I could if I weren't broadcasting. Well, yeah, I guess I could. I could just lean over and have that light really close.
Where I'm trying to go with this is that there was a time in our society and civilization, this one, where that aspect was not relevant. It's only been in the last 100 years that, with Graham Bell and the rest of it, that we've started using electric current. We could have just as easily used Tesla concepts of the Earth's energy, creating, a motor and using the electrical magnetic fields as a way of communicating and using a source of power.
That's another thing I wanted to do, Rick. I wanted to drive 2 dissimilar metal rods into the ground, into a trough. Now take a plow and plow out a trough, so any moisture would go into this, depression in a straight line running north and south, and drive in 2 dissimilar metal rods and attach a wire to each one. One would be plus, one would be minus. And if I put them in series, and let's say I get 10 of them in series or 12 of them in series, I would probably be able to get around 12 volts DC almost forever, as long as those 2 metal rods adjacent to each other were in damp soil. And that's called an earth battery. And
the Ark of the Covenant. And using older relationships of electric current in terms of our civilization and how we use it. I'd get rid of cell phones. That would be one of the first things that I would do. I wouldn't work with that technology anymore.
I've crossed that off my list. As of this week, I do not have a cell phone.
And so there it is. Start that process.
Yeah, so class, if you want to text me at 434-390-7953, it no longer works. It no longer works because I do not have a cell phone. And, Rick, I got to tell you, I thought, there's a possibility that I might miss it. Last night, I came to the realization that I absolutely, positively am delighted not to have a cell phone. And let me give you an example. How many people today, before they get in their vehicle, will say, "Oh, I got to get my cell phone." They'll run back in the house, get their cell phone, and now they have their cell phone. And because you never know when you're going to have a truck problem, a car problem, get stranded, flat tire. All those reasons why we've been sold why we need to have a cell phone. Okay, so we've been told that we have to have them, and we've bought into it. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've been traveling without a cell phone, and it is absolutely delightful. Now, if I do have a flat tire, I'm probably going to walk someplace to get some help, or if I'm on an interstate, which I'd rather not be, I might just stay in my vehicle until someone comes by and says, "Hey, you need some help?" And I say, "Sure, I'd appreciate it." Now, will I feel safe? Yeah, I'll feel safe. I got my 45. So I'm okay. So I'm prepared, and
Man, my gun you may have after I give you my bullets, I will.
Well, I have, I've got food in the car. I've got, long-term storage food. I have water, blankets. I've got pretty much everything I need, including a spare tire. Now, the only reason I wouldn't change the tire was if I was, on the interstate and cars are whizzing by and I get myself, nicked by a vehicle coming by. Other than that, I mean, I should be pretty good to go. And if someone comes by, we can call the house and, Mrs. Finelli can come out with a truck and come pick me up, or a tow dolly, or what. We have a tow dolly, so we can, use that and come get me. But the plan, Rick, is frivolous travel. Forget it. Why would I do that? Why would I subject myself, my family, to the risks of frivolous travel? And if there's a reason, an important reason to go out there and risk life and limb on the highway, okay, we'll go. But if there's not, forget it. And the cell phone, Rick, that is the coolest thing, not having a cell phone. And I just can't wait for people to say, okay, what's your cell number? And I go, I don't have one. I'm looking forward to that, saying over and over, I don't have one. I don't have one. And then, but how many people don't have a cell phone, Rick? I mean, besides me.
I don't use one.
There you go. Isn't that great?
Yes, it gives me pause and actually to remember that the first internet was Pony Express.
Yeah. Didn't last long, but it got replaced. But, Rick, I met a gal.
Railroads and rail cars and mail service by rail. Yes, that's how it all started.
Rick, when we were in the 60s and we would talk to our friends on the phone, we would just kind of lounge around and chat on the phone with our friends. And then, our parents would say, get off the phone. Well, I mean, I'm kind of exaggerating, but, that's the stereotype. Well, now it's texting. So I ran into a young girl in Sam's Club a couple of years ago, and her mother was there, and I asked her mother if I could just ask her daughter a question. And Sam's Club is kind of relaxed compared to some of the other big box stores. People who shop at Sam's Club are members, so they're willing to spend that $35 a year to be a member, to buy in bulk. Well, anyway, so people, I guess, are more trusting of each other in Sam's Club rather than other stores. So I said to this young lady, I noticed you're texting on your phone. Now, if the telephone were invented after texting rather than texting coming up, after the telephone, would you be using the telephone to talk to your friends, or would you still text? And she didn't know how to answer that question. But, to me, I don't understand texting very much because you speak in shorthand. Heck, if you're efficient with words, you could call that person, say, here's the situation. What do you think we should do? Okay, good. Thanks. Done. Bye. I mean, it could be done very, very quickly compared to texting back and forth. It seems like it's an occupation of our time that really doesn't amount to much. Another way of saying what I'm saying is we're wasting a lot of time with cell phones. As a matter of fact, there's a study that says about 2 days per week we're spending on our handheld cell phones. What in the world is wrong with us?
I noticed that it's against the law in our state to talk while you're driving on a cell phone. And yet, every other car that I see is breaking the law because I see them talking on the phone while they're driving. It is the necessary need to communicate that level has lost in translation. And now there is no real communications going on. It's all in, like cursive, it's gone.
Yeah. And Rick, in New Jersey, there's a police car that ran over a couple people. They were having trouble on the side of the road and on the New Jersey Turnpike, and this cop ran him over. Now, my question is, was he paying attention? I mean, I don't know. But if you try to remember back when you're talking on the cell phone in the car, and you're just talking to somebody, just chatting away, nothing important, and then you hang up, you go, wow, I went this far already. I didn't realize how far I've traveled in my car while I was talking. Obviously, how many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Making the right decisions is a challenge to investors. Are we going to see economic growth, slide into a recession, or at worst, depression? Hi, Ted Anderson from Midas Resources. We all know when a company acts irresponsibly, divesting ourselves in a move towards safety is prudent. When the market becomes volatile, U.S. Treasuries are a safe haven. But what do you do when the U.S. government overextends itself and spends beyond its means? Many investors are turning toward gold as a common-sense alternative to traditional paper investments. Midas Resources has put together a powerful book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, discussing costs, benefits, risks, featuring full-color illustrations, weights, and measures. The book is free and can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. Paper investments are dwarfed by gold's 6,000-year history. Discover how gold may be right for you and your IRA by calling 800-686-2237. Whether buying or it's time for you to sell, the book is free. Call 800-686-2237.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com today.
You've heard them on Alex Jones. You've seen them on Ancient Aliens. Now come see them live at Contact in the Desert 2015 in Joshua Tree this May. Experience 4 full days of science-centered lectures, workshops, intensives, and fieldwork on ancient astronauts, extraterrestrial intelligence, human origins, crop circles, contact experiences, UFO sightings, and more. Meet Chariots of the Gods author Eric von Daniken, Ancient Aliens host Giorgio A. Tsoukalos, New York Times bestselling author David Wilcock, Dead Doctors Don't Lie author Dr. Joel Wallach, astronauts Edgar Mitchell and Story Musgrave, Earth Files publisher Linda Moulton Howe, author Jim Mars, and many of the world's most respected researchers and scientists exploring answers to one of the greatest questions of all time. More speakers, more panels, more things to do. Join us at the Joshua Tree Retreat Center, which has a long history of sightings and contact experiences. For advance tickets and conference schedule, go to contactinthedesert.com. That is contactinthedesert.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us, richardallenmiller.com, richardalanmiller.com. Lots of books on the website if you'd like to peruse, and you might want to select some for purchase, richardalanmiller.com. Rick, so we're talking about cell phones, and I'm delighted to announce that I don't use one anymore, and I feel freedom. It's really nice having silence, where from that little tiny box there'd be announcements that you have a text. And anytime someone wanted to send me a text, and it could be friends, family, instructors, I mean, that thing would just go off all the time. And I didn't want to have it near me. I didn't want to have a cell phone near me because, number one, it is capable of recording and transmitting whatever sounds are in the surrounding area of that cell phone. I certainly don't want that. I had tape over the cameras. I didn't want video being taken of the inside of our home. Well, I am set free. I set myself free by not having that cell phone. It is a great feeling, and I suggest that all of our class consider that. And if you've been to our home, for, like a cookout or something that we've had here, you'd see a sign that says, please leave your cell phones in your car. So that's something that you may want to consider, class. Not having other people bring their cell phones into your house. Because what happens, let's say you're going to have lunch, or, they're going to join you for lunch or dinner or just a cup of coffee. You know what happens? They take that cell phone out of their pocket because it's uncomfortable, and they put it where? On the kitchen table. It's like setting a microphone that's going to transmit whatever you say at the kitchen table, the privacy of your own home. It can be picked up, turned on, and recorded forever by the other team. It's nuts. So, I'm going to have a permanent sign on our doors at the house that says, cell phones, keep them in your car. And, I don't think that's impolite. It's my house. What do you think, Rick?
I agree with that. Listen, if they can listen to you, they will listen to you. You can count on it because they'll advance technologies that can do a keyword search.
Hey, Rick, they have a technology right now.
Yeah.
The illegal government has a facility right now that will allow voice to text, and then all of the text being searchable. So you're having a conversation. Let's say you and I are having a conversation on the telephone. All of that's being recorded, and then they can say, let's search that file. Let's say, did he say the word bomb? Is there a bomb in there? Is there a government in there? Is there a Barry Soetoro in there? Is somebody talking about golfing and vacationing and squandering, the nation's wealth? Did they talk about that? They could search on all that, or they can take all of our files and search on all of them, because the words that we've used in the conversations become a file, and they can look through all the files, just like you can on your computer. If you've got Windows, or if you have Linux, and you say, find this text, Joe Dokes, and you tell your computer to, from the keyboard, search for Joe Dokes, and it'll look for every occurrence of Joe Dokes within your hard drive. That's the kind of technology they have at the absolute bare minimum. It's really, really frightening to me. So the answer is give them as little as possible to work with, and one way of doing that is dumping your cell phone.
Well, yeah, privacy takes on a whole new aura.
Yeah, and another thing to do, Rick, would be to shut down the wireless component of your router. So if you want to use a router for, let's say, DSL in your house, or a router for your cable system, and you want to make sure that the electromagnetic radiation coming from it is not there, well, just go into your router through its IP address, log into it, and shut down the Wi-Fi component of your router. You can do that. I've got a router right here in the studio, and I went into, the router's address, went to the screen, went to the Wi-Fi section, said off. So I don't have Wi-Fi. I've got a router that's capable of it, but it's not turned on. Dr. Richard Allen Miller and I'll be right back right after these top-of-the-hour news and commercial announcements. And I'd like to talk about an audio jammer and the price of water and Vincent Finelli of USAPrepares.com. As most of you know, I broadcast weekday mornings on GCN from 9 to 11. And I'm also a full-time farmer. Add to that mix the weekly meetups and the Get Prepared Expo, and this combination makes for a demanding schedule. On the farm, we raise grass-fed Black Angus cattle and provide them with the best variety of summer and fall grasses available. Our cattle are exposed to the extremes of weather, the toxins in the air, and the electromagnetic radiation that's all around us. So even the best grasses and food that we provide are not enough. Our cattle require minerals and supplements for strong health and resistance to disease. And so do we. For these reasons, my mother, our children, Mrs. Finelli, and I all take longevity beyond Tangy Tangerine, De-Stress, Glucogel, and EFA+. USAPreparesteam.com. And thank you for being in class today.
If you constantly feel run down and tired, your pH level might be low and your body could be full of toxins. If what you drink is not at a pH level of 8 or higher, you are inviting bacteria and acid to thrive in your body. But there is something you can do. Simply add 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops to your water to help your body rid itself of acidic waste, increase oxygen, and raise your pH balance to optimum levels. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops combine a unique formula of the most alkaline minerals in the world, alkalizing the water you drink, ridding your body of acidic waste and toxins, and helping you regain energy and vibrant health. And studies show viruses, bacteria, and toxins cannot survive in an alkaline, high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops at alkavision.com. That's ALKA vision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine, there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Everyone all set and cocked, locked. Here we go. Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us. RichardAllenMiller.com. Rick, I was looking at an article on the internet. I posted it on the website, USAPrepares.com. And it's about water pricing. You know, water seems to be very, very valuable. As a matter of fact, 3 days without it and you die, right? Well, here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, water is priced, the more you use, the more it costs per gallon. It's up to 5 cents a gallon in bulk. That is the highest I've ever heard of water being priced. So, for example, if you buy, let's say, monthly water usage for a water bill, okay? So 50 gallons per day, you'd be spending about $50 a month. If you use 100 gallons a day, let's see, you'd be spending about 100 gallons a day, you would be spending $150. And if you use, let's see, 150 gallons, you'd be spending around $229 a month. Now, that's 5 cents a gallon. That's the highest I've ever heard of water being priced, and it's the highest in the country. the point I guess I'm trying to make is water is really, really valuable, and we're just wasting it. We're watering our lawns with drinking water. We're washing our cars with drinking water, and we're concerned about vanity. And you know, I understand hygiene is really important, but let's treat water as if it's a necessity of life, which it is. What do you think?
I am going to suggest get used to it. It's just the beginning. California is in a world of hurt. I'm not kidding. Even here in southern Oregon, wells are going dry. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
You have your home, you have your infrastructure all set up, and all of a sudden you no longer have water because the aquifers that you're drilled down into have gone dry.
Well, Rick, what were we thinking? Seriously, were we that naive, that ignorant of the facts that we would drill a hole and say, well, you know, there's a forever supply of water. And, you know, over the years, I remember, Rick, back in the 1960s, we lived on land that had a well. Every one of our neighbors had a well. How deep were they? They were about 88 feet. And then 10, 15 years of watering lawns, and the next series of wells that went in were deeper. And then deeper. And then wells were going dry. And then people would say, well, geez, I guess our well went dry. Let's drill another well, and deeper, deeper, deeper. And, you know, pretty soon they were a couple 100 feet deep. Well, in Springfield, Missouri, to get clean drinking water, you're at, 500 to 600 feet down. In Springfield, Missouri.
I wouldn't want to live in North or South Dakota where the water comes out white. And it's like people don't get it in terms of the move now for privatization of water and what's going to happen next if you allow that to happen. Air is next.
You know what you said, Rick? What you just said is pretty frightening. Air is next.
Well, it's the truth of it. And look at the trends. And we're not even talking about money and monetary currency now. We're talking about control of utilities. That is what China is about. They have moved into Canada. They are trying to move into the United States. This whole thing is to take over our utilities. And I would be remiss if I didn't say how wonderful it is to work with you. You know, no matter what we talk about, it could be anything. I don't know of anybody like you at all. And I wanted to say that because while I am me and I have this broad background of knowledge base, you do also, and actually are as every bit articulate as I am. I'm impressed.
Well, Rick, I'm very flattered, there it
is. I had to say it, though. Have you realized that we don't even need to think about what we're going to talk about? We just flow.
Well, let me share with.
I didn't mean to get off subject. I just would have been remiss if I didn't say something like that. Plus, and I'm going to be remiss again if I don't say this, I miss Grace Thorne sitting here next to me while I'm doing my radio. There you go, Grace.
Rick, Grace Thorne is a wonderful person. She's been to the farm, she's been to the meetup, she's been to the expos. Rick, let me share this with our class. Here's how it goes. So before the broadcast, let's say, somewhere between 20 and 5 minutes before 9 o'clock Central Time, on Thursdays, I'll call Rick and I'll say, hey, Rick, how's it going? What would you like to talk about? And the reason I do that is if he may have some points that he wants to make sure we cover, some up-to-the-minute breaking news and so forth. I may have some, and I'll just jot down on my spiral notebook. I've got like 30 of them here, maybe 50 of them that I've completed so far, and they're just filed away in the bookcase. But I'll jot down some of the points that I want to make sure that we cover, his points, my points, and so forth, and then I'll say, okay, great, see you in 10 minutes or 5 minutes, or and then we contact Rick, and then we start. But very often, that list of things that we discuss that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Lost in the translation. Yeah.
The first and last time we talk about them is when we say, all right, let's talk about these things. Like, okay, good. See you in a couple of minutes. And that's the last time we talk about them.
Yeah, no,
and that's
cool.
it's absolutely true.
Well, I do a lot of radio, and I've met a lot of intelligent people, but never anybody quite like you, Vincent. That's the truth of it. And so, with that said, it's no wonder that you're climbing in your ratings, and you're doing very well. And when you always come on the broadcast, you always come on with a laugh because you're looking forward to who knows what's going to happen now.
Yeah. That's absolutely true, Rick. I come on chuckling because I'm delighted, absolutely delighted, to be on the air. I really, it's a lot of fun. It's educational for me. I learn a lot. And one of the things that I probably should share is that, the more you know, the more you realize how little you know. And the more you learn about all these things that are happening, the more you realize that there are very few people who are paying attention to these things that are happening. For example, I ran into a lady yesterday, and she's a senior citizen. I said, so you have a cell phone? And she's just concerned about having that cell phone for her in case of an emergency. But she doesn't really want to think about how much damage it's doing to her, transmitting all the time that it's in her pocket. She doesn't want to think about that. And that's not unusual. That's very, very common. Not everybody wants to know what's really happening. They'd like these X-class flares, Rick. I want to know. I want to know that they're coming because I might be planning to go out for, the afternoon, doing circles and tractor therapy, riding around the fields, preparing for hay or cutting hay or whatever I might be doing out there, exposed to the full threat, the full impact of these flares. I want to know when they're coming, rather than being blasted by them and finding out later on that I've gotten skin cancer or something like that as a result of my own ignorance. But it's also a full-time job just paying attention, Rick, to what's happening.
Well, that's the idea. You have to pay attention. And so you have filters, and I think one of them that we can get rid of are cell phones and texting. I think texting is a scourge. It is an abbreviation and leaves way more loss in the translation.
Rick, one of the things that I reflected on many, many, many years ago is what's the difference between American ingenuity and our ability to innovate compared to other countries. And I think it has to do with our language. Our language has a lot of freedom in it. But if we reduce the number of words that we know and that we use, and which is one of the reasons why I try to raise the bar here at USA Prepares, rather than speaking at let's say a 6th or 7th grade level, try to raise the bar so that we expand our minds, expand our lexicon of words so that we can think in greater and greater terms and become more and more innovative. I guess what I'm saying is I believe that there's a relationship, a correlation between the words that we know and use and our ability to innovate. The fewer the words we have, the less innovation. Do you think that's correct or not?
Well, my dad, until I was in my 60s, gave me every year a subscription to Reader's Digest. And I hated the magazine. You couldn't use it in high school as a reference source, when you're doing debate or anything. However, they always had that little section increasing your word power and vocabulary and the ability to articulate and describe something filtering in a manner that people got a visual imaging. And one of the things that makes English more difficult is what's called an idiomatic expression. That means, if you catch my drift, slang.
Let's talk about that when we come back after this break. Rick, would you mind reconnecting? You've been breaking up during this particular segment. If you would disconnect and reconnect during the break, we'll probably be able to fix that.
Or have him call.
I'll have our engineer call you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. By now, you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
I'm Vincent Finelli of USAPrepares.com. As most of you know, I broadcast weekday mornings on GCN from 9 to 11. And I'm also a full-time farmer. Add to that mix the weekly meetups and the Get Prepared Expo, and this combination makes for a demanding schedule. On the farm, we raise grass-fed Black Angus cattle and provide them with the best variety of summer and fall grasses available. Our cattle are exposed to the extremes of weather, the toxins in the air, and the electromagnetic radiation that's all around us. So even the best grasses and food that we provide are not enough. Our cattle require minerals and supplements for strong health and resistance to disease. And so do we. For these reasons, my mother, our children, Mrs. Finelli, and I all take Longevity, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, De-Stress, Glucogel, and EFA+. USAPreparesTeam.com. And thank you for being in class today.
Quantitative easing, unemployment at depression levels, Europe financial system falling apart, China getting out of U.S. treasuries. At the end of 2008, the time of TARP, the national debt was at $11 trillion, gold trading around $850 per ounce. Close to 2012, the national debt exceeded $16.4 trillion, gold doubled to $1,600 per ounce. The $20 trillion threshold for the national debt is inevitable. Politicians in Washington have a ferocious appetite for spending and stimulus. What's worse, a printing press to finance. 100 years ago, we had a gold standard to limit this madness, but now you have to adopt your own gold standard. Don't be fooled with paper promises. Get Midas Resources 10 Reasons to Buy Gold free by calling 800-686-2237. Understanding the gold and silver market may be the only insurance you could have to avoiding the next economic crisis. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order your free copy. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
So there we go. Rick Miller's with us. And so, Rick, we've been talking about these changes in life and how we're being distracted with cell phones and so forth. Yesterday, something very interesting happened. We had one of our class called in about kinesiology. and, thinking with intuition and those kinds of things, and thinking with your gut. And naturally, of course, that led me to mention, Rick Miller and thinking with your gut. And one of the things that I mentioned, I wanted to share this with you because you're an expert in this, is you know Mrs. Finelli quite well. And I have seen, we've been married a long time, since the 1970s. And I've seen her over the years talk to someone. And you know how there's this distance. Let's say there's 3 or 4 people talking in kind of in a circle informally. And there's a distance. You could probably measure it, and it's probably very similar from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. There's a distance. You don't want to be too far. You don't want to be too close, but there's this distance. And I have seen Mrs. Finelli talk to someone, meet this person for the first time, and back up. And it doesn't happen all the time. But her intuition is saying, and I don't think, we have never discussed this, but she and I, but I have a feeling that it has to do with distrust. She does not trust that person, and she backs up. And her intuition has been very, very accurate over the years. She'll say, you know what, I'm not comfortable with that person. I don't trust that person, and so forth. Have you studied any of that, Rick, with that kind of a relationship?
Yes, it's neurolinguistics and body language, and the way your body is also communicating as well as articulating with words. That's why telephones are not as good as communicating in person. In Hindu, they call that darshan, eyeball to eyeball, where you actually have access to the person's soul. You're looking them directly in the eye, and somehow it is a window to who they really are. And actually, I've seen Sandy do this, and if she were to pay attention, she would have all kinds of further information consciously of what she's feeling subconsciously. And that's one of the very difficult bridges, is to form a language where you can talk to yourself about things that you're feeling.
And so is this something that she could work on to enhance?
And be really astute. She could, if, for example, throw the bones. Tarot cards, I Ching, whatever. Sandy's an intuitive. She really is very, very good that way. I've noted that. I was always impressed. Now, there's another thing called irritation coefficient. That has to do with crowd control and how close everybody is to each other. And as crowds build, the space between you, your individual freedom of space, decreases, and with it, irritation. I don't know if you've ever noticed that when you're in a crowd, you're not as comfortable as when you're in a smaller group where there's more space between you. Personal space. Simple.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to share that.
And is part of the emotional body, which is a higher level of what's going on the physical plane. That's why I use that system of measuring, holographic universe, because it would include the idea that emotional content is more detail about the physical.
Rick, I've noticed when I was doing some tractor therapy over the last few weeks, and walking around the farm, just walking around the farm, looking at the grass, looking at the quality, the growth, those kinds of things. Because we're in the grass business. I mean, that's really what we do. We grow grass, and the cows eat the grass, and then we sell the cows. Well, if the grass isn't of sufficient quality, our business is in trouble. Well, I've noticed water evaporating very, very quickly, and I'd like to talk about that with you when we come back, if that's okay. Let's talk about where's it going, and why isn't it hanging around like it used to? I mean, literally, water is disappearing very, very quickly. Dr. Richard Allen Miller, and I'll be right back. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
You've heard them on Alex Jones. You've seen them on Ancient Aliens. Now come see them live at Contact in the Desert 2015 in Joshua Tree this May. Experience 4 full days of science-centered lectures, workshops, intensives, and fieldwork on ancient astronauts, extraterrestrial intelligence, human origins, crop circles, contact experiences, UFO sightings, and more. Meet Chariots of the Gods author Eric von Daniken, Ancient Aliens host Giorgio A. Tsoukalos, New York Times bestselling author David Wilcock, Dead Doctors Don't Lie author Dr. Joel Wallach, astronauts Edgar Mitchell and Story Musgrave, Earth Files publisher Linda Moulton Howe, author Jim Mars, and many of the world's most respected researchers and scientists exploring answers to one of the greatest questions of all time. More speakers, more panels, more things to do. Join us at the Joshua Tree Retreat Center, which has a long history of sightings and contact experiences. For advance tickets and conference schedule, go to contactinthedesert.com. That is contactinthedesert.com.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products, most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Did you know that drinking pure, high alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us, richardallenmiller.com, richardalanmiller.com. if you'd like to peruse his website and check out the books, the same ones that we have here in the studio, I suggest you consider Richard, ALANMiller.com. Rick, so I've been outside and walking around, looking up, looking down. I see more geoengineering than ever before. It's absolutely out of control. It's every single day, morning, noon, and night. It doesn't stop. And what I've noticed is that the water seems to be disappearing. So we had a lot of rain, and all of a sudden, the ground is dry. And it looks like if we don't have rain soon, the grass is going to suffer seriously. So is there something different going on with the water as mixed with the geoengineering chemicals that is causing the water to evaporate?
And all the water is being desiccated out because of the contaminant of the geoengineering that's now in the soil. The water's there, it's locked up. The soil can't get access to it. And the air is drier. And if you had a barometer, there it would be. You could look at your vapor pressure, and there it is. You'd see it for yourself. Everything is drier, including at night when I sleep, I wake up with a dry mouth because there's not the water in the air that would normally be there. Everybody's noticing it, aren't you? And it's time you start to ask questions on why the water is not in the air anymore. And it's because of this crappy geoengineering and the barium and aluminum oxide. It desiccates the water, locks it up in that little polymer, and while the water is there, you can't get access to it, and the air is dry. And if you think it's
Rick,
dry where you
if the Russians,
you ought to be down in California.
Yeah. Rick, if the Russians, were flying their planes over the United States, spraying the same chemicals that,
by the way, they
are being sprayed now.
And they do have chemtrails in Soviet Union, Russia, yes.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is if a foreign country, any country, I just picked Russia, any foreign country were spraying chemicals over the United States, they'd be shot down. So obviously, this is with the blessing, approval, endorsement of the United States government, which is absolutely out of control.
No, not the United States government. United Nations. That's very important to make the distinction. It is a UN project, not a USA project. It's a UN project. The planes that are spraying in your area are coming out of Canada.
It's unacceptable to me. But you mentioned a barometer. You mentioned a barometer, and our son happened to be somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where he found this thing, but it was an award that was given to someone who was like a salesman, and it's a barometer. It's an air guide barometer. I'm looking at it right now. It has a thermometer. It has a humidity gauge, and it has a barometer. All three meters in one frame, glass enclosed. It's like a wall hanging thing with a little plaque on it. Salesman of the year kind of award for a company that's out of business now. So he purchased this, and he thought his dad really likes, nostalgic items and historical artifacts. And so I'm looking at this thing, and I'm wondering, we used to have, it was fairly common for homes in the United States to have a barometer, right? We used to have a barometer and an outside thermometer hanging on the wall with a sensor that would go out the window. That was common. We don't do that anymore. We do not have barometers. We do not have weather instruments in our homes anymore. And I wonder if that's been replaced with technology like, well, if you want to know what the humidity is, just go to an app on your smartphone. Your smartphone will do everything for you. Well, is that why we're not paying attention? Because we don't have these scientific measuring instruments anymore?
Mostly it's because you used to use the barometer to determine for yourself what the weather was going to be that day.
Uh-huh.
That's all ended. Because you can't even predict the weather anymore because it's so screwy in the way they've altered it.
Rick, I was
Storms
talking.
Are not the same thing anymore.
Right. was talking with Mrs. Finelli yesterday and the day before, and I said, and our neighbor came over to have a cup of coffee with us yesterday after the broadcast. And we're sitting around the kitchen table, and I said, it took 62 years, but I got it. I finally figured it out. What's happening is people live in neighborhoods. And, one of the things that happens in most neighborhoods is the socioeconomic, values are similar, if you will. The incomes of many of the people who live in these neighborhoods is about the same. They have the same purchasing desires. They buy the same kinds of things. They keep up with the Joneses. They have the same number of trash cans that they put out, every trash pickup day. So a lot of what happens in these neighborhoods is very much the same as, one house to the next to the next. They have same amount of shrubbery. They have the same kind of siding and so forth. I'm speaking generally. Now, so I believe they tend to think that it's okay where they live because, heck, the Joneses, the Smiths, the Barnes, all these other families live there. So everybody's okay. There's no need to worry because they're all in the same boat in everything. It's like a herd mentality. Everything's okay. Now you contrast that with a farmer like me, and I don't look at what our neighbors are doing. I have no need to look at what our neighbors are doing. I look up, I look down, I pay attention to what's happening, and I'm worried about a lot of different things that most people aren't concerned about at all because it doesn't affect them the way it affects me. So, for example, if it stops raining, most people would say, that's great. I can't believe it. It's so nice out. We can picnic. We don't have to worry. Me, when it stops raining, I go, uh-oh. I'm not going to have the grass to feed the cows. Now what am I going to do with the cows? I've got their lives dependent on me. That's the difference. The difference is living in a neighborhood where you're not concerned with most things around you. And then you look for things to do, like go to ball games and, nonsense like that, compared to actually growing a garden and taking care of your family's future. I think it's living in the neighborhood that's destroying us. How about that?
So there we are. And what's happening now is that I try to put a saucer of water in front of a fan to rehydrate the air.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to do. It makes a difference in my snoring and my sleep pattern.
Mm-hmm. Rick, the trees are dying here. And I got a video. We have a really neat instructor at the meetups. His name is John Gore, and he's a former policeman. And he just decided he was not going to put up with the things that they wanted him to do, make up reports and make up information and put it down on paper as if it's fact. He was not going to do it. He's been teaching us about how the police system works and, how it's really a revenue-based system, exactly what we've been saying, but he's confirmed it all. And he decided that we needed to have a librarian. And I guess I was selected to be the librarian for some of the videos to circulate them among those of us at the meetup group. So if we don't show a video at the meetup group, we just circulate them so people can borrow them and take them home and learn. And one of them was Look Up with Dane Wigington. It's about the geoengineering. It's absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. You look at geoengineering and you look at Fukushima and radiation. I mean, those two things are the top two threats to mankind. In my opinion, it's the number one threat is Fukushima because we really can't fix it. And number two would be the geoengineering, but we can fix that. We can stop it. But who isn't suffering from a lower rate of oxygenation of the blood? Who is not suffering from that? I think everybody is. And I think it's killing us. And people are saying that they have joint pain that they've never had before. Are you hearing that too, Rick?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, more joint pain.
I don't know what to think of all of it. It's just we're in a time of change, and weather is part of it.
And I'm looking at a screen, and it just shows the individual greed. And I'll post this on the website. I was, over the last month or so, I've been catching a few episodes of Mission Impossible from the 1960s through the very, very early 1970s. And the reason I like watching it is I like looking at how things have changed. You see fewer power lines. You see blue sky. You don't see that anymore. You don't see really nice blue sky. We've engineered the sky. We've put more power lines up. You see more hustle and bustle. If you watch Mission Impossible, it's available on Netflix right now. You can watch the way it was in the late 1960s, but it's really a series about marketing. It's a series about using individual greed against a person where they trick people into doing things that they would not normally do. Okay. So that's what Mission Impossible is about. And I looked at the number of commercial minutes. It's easy to do because you can just hit pause and you can see, okay, it's 50 minutes long. That means that there's 10 minutes of commercials because there's an hour of a television broadcast, 10 minutes of commercials, and 50 minutes of program, meaning Mission Impossible. Well, I'm looking at a chart in front of me that shows percentages of commercials, and this is all relating to that same thing, that same ilk, individual greed. In 1952, 13% of the time was spent on commercials. That's 4 minutes out of every half hour or 8 minutes per hour. So it stayed the same 1952, 1958. In 1961, it went to 18%, 63, 20%. That's inflation, right? Then we looked at 1990, 22%, 94, 24%, 2001, 30% of the program or of the hour was spent on commercials. 30%. That's a lot. Right now, 2013, 32%. So it kept creeping up. Over time, it's gotten to the point where it's about 32% of the hour is commercials. To me, that relates.
The same thing on YouTube now.
I can't stand it. You know, you look at a 1 minute commercial for a 5 minute YouTube. I mean, you know, here's my reaction to that. Just go someplace else or don't watch it. Vote with your mouse. Click someplace else. And don't participate. Don't buy things from these advertisers that are taking over YouTube. Wilbur, how many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
You pick up the receiver. With your heart racing and sweat dripping from your forehead, you finally muster the courage to dial the number to call into your favorite talk radio show. It rings once, twice, and then...
Hello, it's GCN. What's your name and the state you're calling from?
Surprised you got through, you squeak out.
Jason from Minnesota.
Please hold.
As you patiently wait for your turn, you begin to daydream about being a famous talk radio host and what it would be like to have your own show.
Jason from Minnesota, you're up.
Millions of loyal listeners worldwide waiting to call and talk to you.
Caller, are you there?
Cheering crowds surround you, calling out your name.
Jason!
Going once, twice. Okay, we gotta move on to the next caller.
You blew it.
Huh? Wait, no!
Interact with the hosts you're listening to right now, online at GCNlive.com. Click on the community link. Engage with other listeners. Ask questions. Start debates. Don't agree with a host? Let them know. Be a part of the community at GCNlive.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MyTV. 1-855-905-MyTV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MyTV. 1-855-905-MyTV.
You've heard them on Alex Jones. You've seen them on Ancient Aliens. Now come see them live at Contact in the Desert 2015 in Joshua Tree this May. Experience 4 full days of science-centered lectures, workshops, intensives, and fieldwork on ancient astronauts, extraterrestrial intelligence, human origins, crop circles, contact experiences, UFO sightings, and more. Meet Chariots of the Gods author Eric von Daniken, Ancient Aliens host Giorgio A. Tsoukalos, New York Times bestselling author David Wilcock, Dead Doctors Don't Lie author Dr. Joel Wallach, astronauts Edgar Mitchell and Story Musgrave, Earth Files publisher Linda Moulton Howe, author Jim Mars, and many of the world's most respected researchers and scientists exploring answers to one of the greatest questions of all time. More speakers, more panels, more things to do. Join us at the Joshua Tree Retreat Center, which has a long history of sightings and contact experiences. For advance tickets and conference schedule, go to contactinthedesert.com. That is contactinthedesert.com.
Hi, John Hubner from Midas Resources. Are you tired of watching your hard-earned assets dwindle away? As government spending is out of hand and the Federal Reserve is creating in excess of $20 billion a week, are you tired of stockbrokers gambling away your hard-earned money? Is this market a setup for a crash greater than 1987? Too many of today's policies resemble those that led to the collapse of 1929. This is John Hubner, and that was me in 2007. And we all know what happened when the subprime credit bubble burst. By March 2009, the dollar lost 50% of its value. The entire U.S. banking system was on the verge of collapsing. Like all financial problems of the past, is history about to repeat itself? Call me, John Hubner, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 129, before it's too late to protect yourself. Will the oncoming catastrophe take all private IRAs, 401ks with it? There is a way to protect your hard-earned assets. Call me, John Hubner, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 129.
Dr. Richard Allen Miller's with us. And Rick, so trees are dying. Do you think this is going to continue, or is this repairable?
It's going to get much worse. That's my prediction. NASA confirms that's one of the reasons they have the transhuman program with the Avatar projects. No longer human.
Tell us what you mean. We're being replaced.
Yes, or enhanced, or, set up with cell phones inside to become a cell phone.
Interesting point. Men on Mars, Nazis in Antarctica, an alien named Krill. Rick, I'm looking at, I posted a link to the story, Veterans Today. You're on the front page. Tell us about that.
Yeah. They did a story on my childhood. That was kind of weird. They vetted it out. There was even more than I realized. And I go down the rabbit hole.
Who's Krill?
Krill was an alien one down about 8 floors down at Broom Lake.
Have you been to Broom Lake?
What it is.
Have you been down there?
Yes, I have, and yes, I did. And no, I can't hardly remember any of it. Something happened to me. They tried debriefing me. This is where I first came up with the concept of synthetic telepathy and then did the basic research in that area because I could not understand how this entity was able to communicate to me without sound.
Rick, why is it that when you see these sci-fi movies and the aliens are coming, the first thing we do is call out the military and just, all right, they're coming, let's blow them up.
War of the Worlds. Yeah. It's the nature of man. Fear is the first enemy. And probably with justification. because I think that aliens come in all colors, good, bad, and ugly.
They come in blue?
I don't know. Probably that would be a reticulin.
I'm thinking the last thing we need is another blue plague.
Literature would say the blue aliens are reticulin lizards. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about another blue plague. That's the last thing we need.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
So Rick, when we're faced with alien life approaching our small planet, why would we think that, number one, why would we think that they'd be the enemy? Why would we think that that we can overpower them? Why would we even entertain those thoughts? Because
I don't, fear. That's the first enemy that man has, is fear. Once you overcome fear, you have some personal power. That in itself, power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. And then, of course, you start to see things more clearly, and clarity becomes an enemy. Ultimately, the fourth enemy is what I currently enjoy, old age. That's all Castaneda.
Well, I'm thinking about if we are visited, and if we have been visited, and why wouldn't we think that we have been visited, and why would we think that we're alone here right now? What would make us think that that we can't?
At our level of awareness, imagination is reality. So how could aliens not be real?
Yeah, and that's what one of my instructors was talking about, Carl Sagan. That if we think we're alone, I think we're not thinking, because the probabilities that there is intelligent life out there is overwhelming. And the more we learn about ourselves and the universe, that there's got to be life out there, and it's got to be pretty bright. Dr. Richard Allen Miller, thanks so much for being with us. And class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you.
I'm Kay Swirling from KSCO Radio in Santa Cruz. I'm 93 years old, and I'm a big fan of Alex Jones because he has the courage to speak his mind more than just about anyone I know. Alex is just as bothered as I am about all the advertising you hear for toxic prescription drugs that make you sicker, not healthy. I prefer to give my body all 90 essential nutrients it needs for life to prevent disease, not compound it. My favorite complete supplement is Beyond Tangy Tangerine from Youngevity, which I take every day along with EFA Plus and Beyond OsteoFX. I recommend you go online to InfoWarsTeam.com to purchase these products and make them part of your daily regimen to get healthy and live longer. InfoWarsTeam.com.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at GoBerkey.com. That's GoBerkey.com.